Welcome to Bitcoins and Gravy, Episode 4.
So today on Coinbase, Bitcoins are hovering around $573.
Now that's gravy. Welcome to Bitcoins and Gravy, and thanks for joining us today as we podcast from East Nashville, Tennessee. I'm John Barrett.
And I'm Lid Shaw.
We're two Bitcoin enthusiasts who love to talk about Bitcoins
and share what we learn with you, the listener. Welcome to the show, and thanks for listening.
On today's show, Lidge and I head to Las Vegas. No, not to gamble, but to talk with Elise Peterson, owner of Tealit.com, an online tea outlet that accepts both Bitcoin and Litecoin as payment.
From Vegas, we head on over to Reno, Nevada, where we sit and chat with Josh Aras, an honest-to-goodness Bitcoin barber.
Then we venture back east all the way to the snowy state of Vermont, where we meet up with Steve Summering of Summering Painting to talk about his dream of painting houses for Bitcoin.
And finally, we interview Nashville heavy metal drummer Talon Fosnot of Sunwheel about Waste Face Wednesdays at the Springwater Supper Club right here in Nashville. Come get your ears blasted and pay for it with Bitcoin. On today's show, we have a very special guest, Elise Peterson from Tealit.com.
Elise, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be talking to you here from Las Vegas.
Nice to meet you, Elise. You know, I first found out about you all just yesterday. I read an article about a tea company that accepts Litecoins, and I got excited because I have some Litecoins, and because last year I stopped drinking coffee and I switched over to tea. So, of course, I went to your site and I signed up and I bought one of the packets that you offer using Litecoins, my very first Litecoin purchase ever. So that was a monumental event for me personally anyway.
Well, congratulations on making your first Litecoin purchase.
Well, thank you.
Well, so that's fascinating. You guys accept Litecoins. Do you also accept Bitcoins or solely Litecoins?
Oh, of course, we love Bitcoin too.
I have not been to the site to see it yet, but could you describe what the visit to your site looks like to a customer when they go to make a purchase?
Yeah, so Tealit.com is essentially an online farmers market. Our goal is to build brands for independent tea farmers around the world. Right now, we're working with 30 different farmers from 14 countries. And we tell their stories through exclusive content and videos and photos. And we help them connect directly with their buyers, both through a retail subscription box, which is something that you had purchased with your Litecoin. But we also do wholesale as well for larger orders, catering to tea businesses that want to do more ethical sourcing and connect more with high quality teas.
Wow, that's great.
And so if you're able to help a farmer connect directly with the buyers, does that mean that the farmers are also receiving Litecoin or Bitcoin?
Not as of right now, but we are working very hard to get that developed. Right now, the barrier to entry on getting our farmers to accept cryptocurrency is that they don't want to take on any type of valuation risk of receiving the Bitcoin or Litecoin and value changing. So we're really using cryptocurrency more as a payment processing tool so that we could easily move funds to different countries around the world. So right now we're actually looking at opportunities in using services like bips.me, where the Bitcoin is sent to Denmark, where it is transferred into any currency around the world. And I think they charge a 0% fee, but then it's a $7.50 wire fee to send the funds to any bank account that's connected to them. So right now we're educating the farmers about what Bitcoin is and how it can positively affect their business and get them online and connected to these services so we can start using Bitcoin to wire money to them so that they can save. And we're talking a difference of 10% fees minimized down to about 1% in fees, which can mean a lot for a small international business.
Can you say the name of the service that you're using again and perhaps spell that and let listeners know how to find it?
Yeah, so the only one I'm aware of right now is called BIPS. It's BIPS.me. so bips.me. They're located in Denmark. I connected with them at a Bitcoin conference here in Las Vegas, and their service seems too good to be true. But we have our first farmer in Nepal that has connected their account to this service, and we will be sending him a payment very soon for some tea, and we'll let everybody know if it works or not.
You mentioned a $7.50 fee. Is that for any amount?
No, it's a flat wire fee. So our average transaction we send to a farmer is about $700. So $7.50 is somewhere around 1%, which is the target we're going after. But of course, as you start sending larger and larger payments, that fee becomes less of a percentage of your transaction.
Sure. And let me ask you, Elise, how did you initially get in contact with your growers, and how many growers do you have, and in how many countries?
Yeah, so I originally started working with tea farmers in Japan. I was doing an internship on a tea farm in Kyoto, and I helped founded a nonprofit called the International Tea Farms Alliance. And this is a network of independent farmers, mostly young men that are tech savvy, and they understand the power of the internet and e-commerce and social media to tell their stories. And so the mission that we had as a nonprofit was to create events where farmers and tea lovers can interact and then connect, of course. And the piece that was missing was we weren't able to do commerce, which is really what the farmers need. They need that ability to sell their tea. That's their whole purpose of their business. And the nonprofit was not able to do that. So as soon as I returned back to America, I had made an agreement with the nonprofit that I would start a for-profit partner that would take on the same mission, but be focused on commerce rather. So my first weekend back in Hawaii, that's where I was living at the time, I went to a startup weekend and I pitched what I called back then tea commerce. And we ended up taking second place. And from that point forward, totally got the bug and never stopped since then. And it's just been a series of MVPs of building whatever type of solution, just with the point of making more connections between the farmers and the consumer. And of course, selling more of their tea as efficiently as possible. So it was just a natural evolution for us to discover cryptocurrency. And, I have to say I'm very lucky that I have very good connections in my life that are very knowledgeable both on Bitcoin and Litecoin that helped navigate this process. And, last year when I first started T-Letter, a year and a half ago, I was always joking that one day I would have the entire company on Bitcoin. It really was a joke. I would just make people laugh with it. And it's amazing how quickly we've gotten to this point where it's becoming true. And no longer is it a joke. It's a real serious thing that we're doing here.
Bitcoin does move fast. It's the bullet train of currencies for sure.
That's right. Wow.
Elise, I wanted to ask you if you had any interesting anecdotes or funny stories about adopting Bitcoin for your business.
Okay, so I think the funniest story was we decided with the Bitcoin launch on the landing page and with the marketing collateral that went along with it, we wanted to have a very rebellious, kind of revolutionary type of voice with it. And we have this video from when we were at 500 startups in Silicon Valley of Dave McClure pitching T-Let for us. And he was just, saying the farmers are getting, using obscenities, the clean version of it now is don't let farmers get screwed, buy direct from the source. Don't let financial institutions screw us, use Bitcoin. And we had the wording on the website and not so much the wording we used in the posts that we put in the forums or what messaging we put out there, but on the page. And it somehow got accessed by one of the farmers in the South, and they weren't too happy with the language that we used and didn't really understand why we chose to use that language. So I was on the phone the next morning, on the morning of the launch, talking to one of these farmers, explaining to him why we chose that language and in the first place, what is Bitcoin? And so it's kind of weird how it backfired on us. Of course, we had to take it down, and maybe it wasn't the best choice and most tactful choice for us to do that. But we also had an opportunity to educate people on what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin type people, why they think about and what's important to them, and why that kind of very direct message that we used there was a way of resonating with the Bitcoin community. And that's what got us started talking with the farmers about paying them in Bitcoin.
That's great.
That is great.
So it's a cool way to start with Bitcoin for sure.
And that farmer, you said he was where?
So that farmer is in Mississippi, but we were also being contacted by farmers, mostly in India, actually. The Indian farmers have the most pain with bringing funds in and out of the country.
I see. But the guy who complained was in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that his grandmother was there and she, caught wind of that. And maybe that's why he was offended. Hey, let me ask you, Elise, if you have any advice that you could give to startup businesses that are thinking about accepting Bitcoins and Litecoins, anything you could share from your experiences?
Yeah, I think that everybody should consider it not just as much as being a merchant or finding ways of getting Bitcoin and trying to invest it and, sell high and what everybody's talking about right now, but using it as a payment processing tool, especially if you are an international business. There is some education that you have to provide to your vendors or, your customers if you're wanting to utilize cryptocurrency. And just becoming a merchant of Bitcoin and now Litecoin, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to increase your sales. There has to be a reason behind it and a message behind it. And after we launched, we launched almost just as like a pet project for our developer. He had been really talking a lot to me about implementing Bitcoin payment, and I didn't believe that people would actually buy tea with Bitcoin. But it was amazing after we launched, how successful it was. And a lot of people asking me, if I just enable Bitcoin on my e-commerce shop, is it going to increase my sales? And I think that, we were so successful because our demographic runs parallel with the Bitcoin community. And it has a lot to do with our business model too. We're trying to cut out the middlemen. We're trying to bring more transparency and kind of take on more of that open source collaborative type of mentality with the business that I think resonates really well with the Bitcoin community. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody has the potential to model their business that way and try to tap into that market right there, because it's a big market and they have a lot of buying power right now. They need excuses to put their currency into circulation because it helps support the network. It helps increase the value of the currency the more it's in circulation. So there is opportunity to tap into that, but you have to do it smart and you have to make sure that you have a legitimate product that's got quality and has some type of value to it, more than just the object itself. So things that come along with some type of revolutionary type of idea, I think tend to do popular. And, some report was posted in an article in CoinDesk about our launch, about the demographics of Bitcoin users. And I was surprised to see how similar they were to ours. And I had perceptions about Bitcoin that were wrong. That most transactions have been used in donations. So that says a lot about the Bitcoin user, that they want to be spending their Bitcoin on something that means something, right? So, very, very little has been used on illegal activities, which is what everybody just assumes first thing when it comes to Bitcoin.
That's right.
So, I think if you do your research, you can successfully get into being a Bitcoin merchant.
Those are all really great points. So you've seen your business grow by, a small percentage or 0.5% now that you're taking Bitcoins and Litecoins possibly?
Oh, no. Yeah, we've seen it increase. I don't know our exact numbers now because they change every day. But I would think maybe it's like tripled or quadrupled our sales since we're almost like getting more Bitcoin than dollars now. It changes every day. It's really crazy how big of a part of our business it's become.
Man, that is great.
That's great. Congratulations on that.
Congrats.
Thank you. And now Litecoin, we're doing really great with Litecoin so far. So it's exciting.
Nice.
What would you say your percentage of Bitcoin to Litecoin purchases are?
Well, we just launched the Litecoin processor yesterday. So, we've only been live for a day. Yesterday's sales, I would say maybe like 80% were in Litecoin and the rest was in Bitcoin. So we had a very good Litecoin day yesterday and today. We don't know how those sales will continue, but I think just the Litecoin community was so excited to see somebody accepting Litecoin and just wants to support what we're doing.
That's true. That's pretty amazing. John just discovered you yesterday on the very day you launched Litecoin.
That's right. And then just last evening, I posted on, or maybe it was today, I posted on our Nashville Bitcoin Facebook page. So
Awesome.
hopefully
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, hopefully you'll have some Nashville Bitcoin community folks buying some tea.
Yeah, it's amazing. The people we find that are our first customers, they tend to be pretty big in the community and really involved in the community and want to support it. And it was cool. We went to a Bitcoin conference in December in Las Vegas, and we met a few people we knew that were customers, and people that are really high up in the Bitcoin world were our first or second Bitcoin customers, and they were really proud of us, and it's really opened a lot of doors for us. In fact, I had the opportunity to present at the Bitcoin booth at CES, talking about our story along with BitPay, Butterfly Labs, and blockchain. So it's really cool how it's opened up doors for us to tell our story and to get exposed to more people, because as you can obviously tell, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing and just want to tell as many conscious people. And, the Bitcoin community, Litecoin community tends to be very conscious and knowledgeable and ask a lot of questions, and want to bring transparency to how our everyday life work.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Well, so Elise, tell us how our listeners can find you, and perhaps even spell the website for us.
Yeah, so we can be found at tealet.com. That's outlet for tea, TEALET. And if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, and we do run special promotions just for Bitcoin or Litecoin, you can go to tealet.com/Bitcoin or tealet.com/Litecoin. We have two separate landing pages there. You can learn about that, and also our payment processor for Litecoin. I mean, a lot of potential there, and we're going to see where it takes us, and just kind of go with the flow and build as we need to.
Hey, we're going to be following you, and we're excited for you. And I'm excited. I can't wait to receive my tea in the mail.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Awesome.
What did you get? Did you get some Darjeeling?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. I bought, it all comes in a box, and I think there were, 3 or 4 teas. It was the one that said Litecoin near it, so maybe you can, you can tell me what
so that's
I
our
ordered.
special Litecoin box. We're running it with a 30% discount right now, but it's got 2 teas from India. Mm-hmm. It's a green tea and an oolong tea, and then 2 teas from Japan, which are both green teas. So, and there's also a Litecoin keychain in there.
Oh, that's right.
We're actually sponsors of the development project of Litecoin, and so that's our way of promoting them, and a portion of the profits do go back to the development project.
That is so cool.
Well, I'm looking forward to drinking more tea and becoming a new tea lover myself.
I'm not going to share it with you, Lid. You're going to have to get your own
I'm going to have
tea.
to get my own.
That's it, man.
Yep, you can find it at tealet.com/Litecoin. That's where you can get it.
Well, thank you so much, Elise Peterson, and we look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
All right, aloha. Thank you so much for the chat tonight. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
And did you say also, you said mahalo in your email, is that right?
Mahalo, yeah. So, it's Hawaii roots. Mahalo means thank you. And of course, aloha is hello and goodbye and I love you and so many more things. So, I tend to like to use those expressions in my emails, just sharing the pure aloha spirit.
Well, aloha back to you.
Aloha
Thank you
back
very
to
much.
you. Thanks, Elise.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Josh, hello.
How are you?
All right, so hey, Josh, thanks so much for being on Bitcoins and Gravy today. If you could introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, and also how you initially got involved in Bitcoin.
My name's Josh Aras. I'm a barber here in Reno, Nevada at a shop called Mayberry Salon and Barbers. I've been a barber now for about 3 years or so, and I have a customer that came in one day, IT guy with a pretty large company, and he started talking to me about Bitcoin and having me accept it. At first, I kind of just pushed it off. I kind of looked, I guess, a little on the high risk side for me, and this was probably September-ish of 2012, and at the time the price was going anywhere from $13 up to maybe that $50 range. So I guess one of my big concerns at the time is what happens if he comes in and pays me, when it's at that $50 range, and then the next day it goes back down to 13. It kind of means that I just did a haircut for kind of pennies. as the time kind of went on, he kind of kept on me a little bit, or we always had conversations about Bitcoin every time that he came in. And so this last September, I finally told him, all right, so next time you come in for a haircut, I'll go ahead and accept it from you, and we'll just see where it goes. And kind of just maybe be prepared for me to not accept it. But for right now, we'll see what the next step is, or see how it goes. So he paid me Bitcoin that day. Back in September, the service was on September 5th, and Bitcoin was trading for right around $124 per coin. So I accepted it. A week later, it was up another $30. And a week later, it was up another $30. And so all of a sudden, my $30 service within a couple months made me, about another $150, $200.
Wow.
So I think I kind of started accepting it right at the beginning of the chaos or the boom. So I continue to accept it. I put myself on to, there's a couple websites out there that as a service provider, somebody that accepts Bitcoin, you can actually put your name on. I don't remember the website that I put myself on off the top of my head, but so I put it on that just so people can maybe that are looking on spending Bitcoin could find me. That's actually how CNN Money called me up beginning of November, middle of November, and asked, if I was still accepting it, how it was going. And so I did a little small interview with them. At the time, I was only getting one guy, the same guy, paying with Bitcoin. And now I have 3 customers that pay with Bitcoin. Not a lot, but I have a lot more interest from my customers because they've seen some of the articles that I've had published about myself out there. So one of their first questions to me is, hey, I saw you on CNN, or I saw you in Reno News and Review. Tell me about this Bitcoin. So a lot more of my customers right now are getting into it. And it's kind of a nice conversation to be able to have with your customers as well. It gives us something to talk about.
Did you choose to use a merchant service with anybody, and who did you choose to go with?
So I'm actually using Coinbase as my digital wallet and as my kind of just to run all my transactions through. Coinbase has a lot of functions in it that makes it real appealing to service companies out there that are looking on accepting Bitcoin. They actually have a deal where if I didn't want to take a risk on Bitcoin, and as soon as I receive a payment, I can turn around and have that immediately transferred back into US cash and put it into my account. They have that setting, or I can actually set it to accept for, say, up to 5 Bitcoins. And anytime that my wallet gets over 5 Bitcoins, go ahead and cash that out and put that into my account as well. And then also having a checking account linked with Coinbase, I can also buy more Bitcoin. And the more I use it, the more, I guess, kind of speed of access they give me.
Hey, Josh, tell us a little bit about the challenges faced by new business owners who are thinking about accepting Bitcoins.
Well, like I say, I've been able to kind of go back and forth with this IT guy. And anytime that I have any questions, I'm really not necessarily the most knowledgeable when it comes to Bitcoin. When some of my customers ask, how does this work or how does that work? Over the last about 6 months or so, I became a lot more knowledgeable, and I'm definitely understanding the entire process. But at the end of the day, every time that my IT guy actually comes in, I normally have a whole list of questions. So I think it's nice to have somebody that you can kind of kick ideas back and forth on for new businesses out there thinking about accepting Bitcoin. I do two different processes here. I actually printed out a QR code of my Bitcoin wallet. That way, my customers, they can just walk up to the QR code, scan it, and then on their digital wallet, a screen pops up saying, how much do you want to send this person? That way, if I offer them, say, a $20 service, and they want to throw an extra $3 or $4 tip on top of that, they can do that because I'm not telling them that they have to pay me a certain amount. It's actually asking them, how much do you want to send this person? The other direction that you can definitely go with the Coinbase app is I can actually go in and say that the service that day is going to be $20 and then create a QR code that is related to my account, and that QR code equals $20. So that way, as soon as they scan it, there's an instant transfer from their account into my account. And the hard part with me is, since tips are such a huge part of my industry, that doesn't necessarily give them an option to give me that tip.
Now, is that really an instant transfer, or does it send a Bitcoin send request?
No, that's actually, so it's a send request. Now, when they scan it, I shouldn't say it's an instant transfer, but it's going to pop up on their screen saying to confirm the transaction, and all they have to do is hit accept, and that money transfers.
Right. So they would scan it with their wallet app, and it would show up on their phone, for example, ready to send 20 million Bitcoins. No, just kidding.
Well, that's one thing I'm still working on. Back in the day, haircut and shave used to be 2 bits.
Ah, there you go. We were going to ask you about that.
If I can start getting 2 bits for haircuts and shaves, I don't have to work too much.
That's great.
Josh, I've got to ask you about beards here in Nashville. Still, we have the woodsman beard. Where are you exactly? You in Reno, you said?
So I'm in Reno.
Is the woodsman's beard there popular just as it is here in Nashville?
The beard thing is growing.
Nope, no pun intended.
Yeah, even myself, I have probably about a 4 to 5 inch beard right now. So.
And do you also cut beards?
Yeah, I sure do. I do the whole service. The straight razor shaves, the haircuts, the trimming of beards. We try to do something every year when it comes to November. They have the fundraiser called Movember, which is a huge fundraiser for cancer for males out there.
That's great.
So we try to focus stuff around that and try to get the guys to grow out their beards throughout the year, and we'll shave them off for the month of November. So.
Man, that's great. So for our listeners, I know after this episode airs, you're going to have a flock of people heading to Reno to do, I don't know what people normally do in Reno, hit the casinos, but they're going to be, I guess the woodsmen are going to be coming from all over the country to your barbershop. Can we tell them, what do you charge for a haircut? What do you charge for a woodsman's beard versus a goatee? How much is a shave and a haircut?
So a haircut's $18, and that doesn't matter if it's a short haircut or a long haircut. And then for a straight razor shave is $25, and that'll do, take the whole beard off or take it down to a goatee. If we just want to trim it up, I charge $12 just to come in and reshape your beard. A lot of the guys throughout the year, the beards kind of get out of control, so they just want some of the stragglers taken off. So. And then all my services, I always have a nice ice cold beer sitting here for all the guys that are coming in. So they're always welcome to have a nice beer and get a haircut and a shave.
Well done. Speaking of stragglers, if we were to start a foundation and send a bunch of East Nashvillers to your place to have their beards removed, how would that work?
Well, most definitely. We definitely enjoy that. I've actually partnered up a little bit with 2 of the places here in town. There's a brewery here in town called Under the Rose, and they make unbelievable beer. It's a fairly young business, fairly young brewery, but we're actually planning on doing the shave off at their facility. I have a whole mobile barber shop that I do, and we're going to take the mobile shop over there hopefully next November, beginning of November, to do the shave off. And then there's a place here in town called Craft Reno, and they bring in microbrews from all over the world, all the craft beers. And so we'll do the reshave off part 2 at the end of November at their place. So
so it's put a head on your beer and take a beard off your head.
Exactly. I like it. I may have to coin phrase that this coming up time.
So Josh, how can we find you? How would our listeners find your website?
Yeah, so I have my own website. It's www.barberarias.com, and Arias is spelled out Arias.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show. It was fantastic to hear your stories, and we're glad to know that everybody's getting cleaned up through Bitcoin.
Most definitely. Well, thank you for the invite, and we look forward to hearing your guys' podcast down the road.
Hey, Josh, I'd really like to thank you for joining us today, man. That was a great interview, and I'm excited that people know where to go to get a shave and a haircut. Good luck to you with your business, man. It sounds like you're doing a great job. Josh Aras, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Hey, Steve, great to have you on Bitcoins and Gravy today. Could you tell us your name and the name of your business, and just give us an introduction to how you got involved in Bitcoin?
Well, my name is Steven Summering, and the name of my business is Summering Painting. I got involved in Bitcoin. I started getting into networking a while back and I don't know, saw it on the internet somewhere and did some research on it. Then I started watching the prices of it. And I got fascinated by it and just got more and more into it as time went on. And then I figured I would start accepting it as pay. Started mining it as well. So,
Steve, tell us where you are.
I'm up in Burlington, Vermont.
Burlington, Vermont. Well, that's wonderful. And so are you doing interior painting or exterior house painting?
I'm doing interior and exterior right now. Yep. I do it both. Yep. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been painting for about 8 years for myself. So it's pretty slow in the winter time. And that's pretty much how I got into Bitcoin, was because I have a lot of free time in the winter. So I, work on my web page and just screw around with Bitcoining and stuff like that. And
yeah, that's a bit of a requirement for getting into Bitcoin, isn't it?
Yeah. You got to keep up with all the news and see, watch the prices of it constantly. Trading and stuff like that, for sure.
Well, how are you accepting Bitcoin now for your business? What is your routine for doing that?
I haven't got any yet, but I hope to soon. I'm just going to, give people my wallet and my numbers and my characters and see, what happens from there. I wouldn't have a problem accepting it as a payment because it's, it jumps around a lot, but I don't see it going anywhere. I think it's going to jump around a lot for a long time, but I don't foresee it disappearing.
Do you think that you would go with Coinbase or with BitPay as a payment processor, or would you just use your phone and have your customers pay you phone to phone or tablet to tablet?
I would probably just give them my wallet and have them send it that way. Coinbase is pretty reputable. I've used them before and I've had good luck with them. I'm skeptical, about using those things, but it's nice to just use your own wallet and send it that way too,
I agree. Yeah. And, we agree that Coinbase is a reputable company and we both use Coinbase ourselves. You don't have any customers yet, but maybe after this podcast goes out over the world, maybe you will have some people coming to you and saying, hey, Steve, can you paint a bathroom for us? Or we have the exterior of the house to paint in the spring. Do you have a forte? Do you feel like you're better at exterior painting than interior, or just really good at doing both?
I would say I'm really good at doing both. It's been my profession for a long time, and I like to do, I'm not really into, working and doing, quick jobs. I like, if I'm going to put my name on something, it's got to look really tight and nice. And, I always have to move forward. And even though I just paint walls and trim and stuff like that, I always try to push myself and learn, about new products and, try to keep it tighter and tighter, all the paint jobs I do. I have a long list of references. I've worked for some of the most well-off people in Vermont personally, so I feel good about doing it, and I enjoy it too. It is a trade. Painting is definitely a trade. I mean, a lot of people think everybody can paint, but I don't see that being the case.
Not me. I've tried it.
No, yeah. I give people a chance to help me out sometimes in the summer when work is really busy. And there's a lot of people that will say that they can paint. And I don't really believe anybody can paint. I was kind of, first time I ever did it, I kind of knew that that's what I was going to be doing, just kind of something that's in my blood, I guess. I don't know. I like heights. I like being outside. I like all that stuff.
So you're newly accepting Bitcoin and you don't have any customers yet. How are you getting the word out there to get new Bitcoin customers in for your painting services?
Well, so far it was just through the Reddit. I'm going to work on my webpage too and put some more stuff on there about it. Summeringpainting.com.
I liked your website. It looked like a big yellow house, I think, and a nice looking dog there in the picture.
Yeah, that's my dog, Joey. He usually helps me paint in the summertime when the time is right, He's really good. He stays right around the house. He's really no problem at all. And most people that I paint for really like him too, so.
Well, hey, that's a good-looking dog, and I have a dog too, and I know that it really is true that it's man's best friend. I have to tell you that I have done some painting in the past, and I agree with you that painting is difficult. Everybody, a lot of people say they can paint, but to actually have a good finished product that doesn't have a lot of flaws, a lot of drips, or any drips, right, or any holidays is the name of the game. Do you still use that? I remember a guy I painted for years ago, and he said, Barrett, look at all those holidays. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And he said, well, that's any place where you missed and there's no paint on the wall. That's a holiday. Do you still use that term?
Yeah. There's a lot of terms like that. Yeah, but I'm very familiar with that one. I have a buddy that says the same thing too. It's like I don't know. I really like it because it's almost like you have to be mindful constantly the whole time. You know, you can't just walk around like you don't know where your feet are too. You have to know where your feet are and your hands are right up to the ceiling. You know, especially if you're cutting in a flat white ceiling with a purple wall or something. That line, if you're shaky at all, people are going to notice that.
That's a great analogy for getting into Bitcoin too, I would say. You really got to know where your hands and feet are and be aware as you get into it and what the prices are. Bitcoin's taking a bit of a holiday right now, I would say.
Yeah. I still don't see it going anywhere. Like I said, it's going to go up and down a lot. It's been around for a little bit now, and I mean it's still pretty unstable. That's the thing. I really believe in it. I don't. I kind of have a problem with banks, and I don't like money having to travel through a lot of middlemen, basically. Because it kind of gets they kind of control it like that, and I don't really agree with that. So that's kind of why I started going into Bitcoin to begin with. And the positives to it, I mean, there is some negatives to it. It's unstable, and some people are doing shady stuff with it. But if you look at the positives to it, you can buy anything from anywhere. And the other thing is that people can start at businesses online and just start accepting Bitcoins right away. They don't need to go through a bunch of middlemen and stuff like that and PayPal or whatever,
Well, so for some of the other businesses, small businesses that might be thinking about accepting Bitcoin now, what do you think some of the challenges are going to be for them that you may have figured out or that you anticipate? How can you help to keep them from painting themselves into a corner with Bitcoin?
That's a good question. It's going to fluctuate a lot. You got to be a hawk about how much it's worth, at the current time. Mm-hmm. And the people paying, they're going to have to understand there's a little bit of that. Anybody that's into Bitcoin understands that there's going to be that fluctuation.
Well, the other thing is that when you have Coinbase and you have BitPay, they offer the service for the small business where you can get paid in Bitcoin today, and it can instantly be turned into U.S. dollars and instantly deposited in your account. As the small business, you never actually have to hold Bitcoins if you don't want to. So that essentially takes away any risk of the fluctuations for the small business owner. With Coinbase and with BitPay, those risks don't even exist anymore. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking time to interview with us today. And also, can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, you could go on summeringpainting.com. I should have some more information about the Bitcoin on there and how I'm going to be accepting that. But yeah, I got some of my work up there. I should be putting some more pictures on there soon.
Okay, that's Summering, SUMMERING, painting.com.
Yep, and my number is 802-373-1527, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. I'll travel a little bit too, because I'd be really interested in working for Bitcoin. I think it's a really cool thing to get into.
Does your website say "Will travel for Bitcoin"?
Not yet.
Well, Steve, thanks so much for joining us on the Bitcoins and Gravy Show. It's been great to talk to you and a real pleasure to have you here with us. We look forward to speaking to you again in the future and seeing how your business is going accepting Bitcoin.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, cheers.
All right, cheers.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.
Today we have Talon Fosnot here with us from the local Nashville band Sunwheel. Welcome, Talon.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I been here in Nashville for about 2 years now, and I work at Clare Brothers, which is a sound company, and we do a lot of business here out of Nashville, and been involved in Bitcoin. Well, when I say involved, I guess just interested in collecting and scheming with Bitcoin.
Is Clare Brothers involved in Bitcoin? Or
No, not at all. No, that's just me. Clare Brothers is not involved in Bitcoin. Not yet anyways. If they could start paying me in Bitcoin, my salary, that'd be really great.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be good.
But I found out about Bitcoin in July or August, very quickly. held all my interest, you know.
And so tell us about your band.
My band is called Sunwheel. We're a instrumental prog rock metal band. We have a show going on at Springwater every second Wednesday of the month. We're calling that Waste-Faced Wednesdays.
Nice.
Get bit blasted.
Yeah, totally. And so I decided to start taking Bitcoin as cover for the show if anybody wanted to go that route. Just looking for another way to kind of promote the show. Metal's not very big here in Nashville, and anything I could do to support the metal scene and support the other guys who play the kind of music that we do, that's kind of the whole idea.
Which is instrumental and sort of heavy rock metal, right?
Yeah, most of the groups that have come through so far, we've been doing this January and February so far, it's all pretty heavy music. We don't go out of our way to find metal bands or angry bands or anything like that, but the circle of friends that we run around with
are generally angry.
Yeah, generally angry.
Now, do you guys call yourself Insta-metal?
Insta-metal?
Yeah.
No, but that's pretty
Instrumental? And that's what
Oh, instrumental. So how's your turnout been at your shows?
The last one was actually really good. January was a little slow. It's the winter time. It's Wednesday. People don't like to come out, I guess. But this last one, we had about 50 people come out. And,
nice.
For, since y'all, I don't think you've been to Springwater before, but it's a tiny little room. And to have 50 people in that room, it looked like it was packed.
Yeah.
Wow. I probably haven't been to Springwater in 10 years.
That's where I would go see punk rock bands for sure. So
Yeah.
It's a great, funky place where you don't feel bad if you spill your beer by accident.
Mm-hmm. I like to think of it as a very vibey sort of a venue.
It is.
Don't they call it the Springwater Supper Club?
Yeah.
I sort of remember them being the place that still had a quarter pool table. Do they still have a pool table that's only 25 cents?
Nice.
They do, actually.
There you go. So that's a great place to introduce a new currency, Bitcoin. So tell us about Bitcoin and tell us about your thought process of deciding to accept Bitcoin for the show.
It was a really easy decision for me because of how easy it can be to do it. I can just pull out my phone and here, scan this QR code, or print it on a piece of paper and put it up by the door. And, I could receive the confirmations really quickly. And unfortunately, the venue doesn't want to take Bitcoin, but, I was happy to just do it myself and take care of the whole thing.
What were you using to receive the Bitcoin?
I'm using my phone.
What app do you have on your phone?
Blockchain.
Nice.
Blockchain.
Yeah.
I assume, as I think about it here, that it would be very different if you were trying to accept it directly to a paper wallet than if you were using, an online wallet.
I mean, not really. You'd have to be able to see that the Bitcoin's going in there. You want to be able to see the confirmations from the receive end. But if you're only looking at what was the cover, like $5 a pop. So,
yeah.
At $5, as soon as the person holds their phone up there and scans your QR code and you get to see that it's sent from their phone, there's really no worries after that.
I guess that could work. Blockchain does have the option to monitor your paper wallets, which I have done before. If I wanted to go that route and just have Bitcoin sent directly to the paper wallet, then I could essentially just cut my paper wallet in half. That way the private key is hidden, and then my phone will still alert me to when those transactions get sent to the paper wallet.
Right, or just wear a T-shirt with your QR code on it, right?
Yeah, that could work really great.
Yeah, that'd be cool as long as it wasn't too wrinkled.
So can we get into some of the details a little more? Were you using blockchain app on an iPhone or an Android?
iPhone.
Okay, so that's before Apple took the blockchain app off of.
Yeah,
off the
I feel kind of like the privileged few now that was grandfathered into the blockchain iPhone app before Apple, took it away from everybody.
Right. So don't delete and don't upgrade.
Right.
Yeah, you can't.
Keep using it.
Right. Do you have any thoughts about getting an Android?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Me too.
Two things happened in the last week. My roommate came back from New York and he got a Google Glass.
Oh, wow.
And between that and then Apple taking away the blockchain app off of their store, it's a lot easier for me to go ahead and move over to Android on my next upgrade.
So you're using the blockchain app on iPhone and you're accepting payments from people as they come to the door. And if somebody was to pay for cover and you receive it in Bitcoin, is that going to come to you through a push notification on your phone, or do you have to wait for the email to come in? Give us some of the details about how that process would work.
I'm just leaving the app open on my phone. When someone comes to the door and wants to pay in Bitcoin, I'm going to be notified by the guy at the door, and then I'll just pull out my app. And as soon as the payment is sent, then I can start receiving the confirmations. And
how many confirmations did you feel like you needed before you could let them in?
the first one. I'm not that worried about it. I'm just happy somebody came to the show,
Did you imagine yourself 30 minutes later, bouncing somebody out the door because it was a
Oh, it could
denied
happen.
confirmation because of some transaction malleability, and you throw them out in the mud?
So, no, I was just going to say, so have you, you had 2 shows, right, and you accepted Bitcoins at both shows. Lidge may have already asked this. Did you have any takers? Did you have anybody paying with Bitcoin?
No, we didn't, unfortunately, but we're going to try it again. I'm making it as well known to the Nashville community that we're taking Bitcoin. Not a lot of people like to come see metal shows on a Wednesday night, but I think as the summertime comes and school's out, we're going to start seeing a lot more takers.
And as the Nashville Bitcoin community grows, are you right now part of the Nashville Facebook network?
Yes.
Bitcoin Facebook network? Oh, good.
Yeah, and I'm super ecstatic to see the Nashville Bitcoin community growing. I'd love to see Nashville become a place where people can come just because they know they can spend their Bitcoin here. You had mentioned in previous shows the idea of there being restaurants and cabs and venues and all sorts of things where, people can literally spend a whole weekend or a couple of days or, however they want to do it and not have to spend their dollars, and they can just spend Bitcoin. And I also heard in another podcast that the interviewer suspected that Austin, Texas was the biggest Bitcoin city right now, and I'd like to see Nashville take over the title.
Take Austin.
We can take Austin.
We can do it. So, Talon, tell our listeners how they can find out more about you and your band, Sunwheel.
We've got a Facebook page, and that would be the best way to look us up. Just type Sunwheel in the search bar, and you'll see the musician artist page. And we'll be posting our Waste Face Wednesday posters on there, and it'll have all the lineups for every show. The show changes every month, so we'll have different bands coming through, touring bands, and summertime it's really going to kick off. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of touring heavy metal groups coming through.
So, John, that was great to have Talon here on the show from Sunwheel.
Oh, yeah.
It was very cool to hear about a band's first experience accepting Bitcoin in Nashville, for their show. And even if you don't have any takers initially, seeing an opportunity for it to grow and build an audience community.
Oh, yeah, he's a smart guy. He's obviously excited about Bitcoin, and that's what it takes to grow the community.
So tell us more about what's going on over at the Springwater.
All right. So that's Waste Face Wednesdays, the second Wednesday of each month until June at the Springwater Supper Club, hosted by Sunwheel and Silent Monolith.
Right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Sounds good.
Bring your Bitcoin. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed the interviews with Elise Peterson, Josh Aras, Steve Summering, and Talon Fosnot. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate your time and attention.
Hey, Lidge, let's also give a special thanks to our friends in Southern California listening in on station KCAA 1050 AM. Tune in Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time to hear new episodes of Bitcoins and Gravy. And make sure to catch more great shows from the Let's Talk Bitcoin Network, airing all week right here on KCAA 1050 AM. Or download the podcast from letstalkbitcoin.com.
That's right, John. We are proud to be part of the first Bitcoin podcast network of shows that includes Mad Money Machine with Paul Boyer, Living Freely with Stephanie Murphy, Ed and Ethan's Bitcoin Report, and of course, the gold medal champion of America's Olympic podcasting team, Let's Talk Bitcoin with Andreas Antonopoulos, Stephanie Murphy, and Adam B. Levine. And if you have questions or comments, please email us at bitcoinsandgravy@gmail.com.
If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment and leave us a review on iTunes. Whether 3 stars or 5 stars, it's your reviews that help new listeners discover the show. And it's your generous tips that allow us to create the show.
Our tipping address can be found at the show notes for Bitcoins and Gravy at letstalkbitcoin.com. And we thank you in advance for your generous contributions.
I'm John Barrett.
And I'm Lid Shaw, and you've been listening to
Bitcoins and Gravy from East Nashville, Tennessee.
Hit it, Johnny.
Thank you very kindly, friends. I'd like to dedicate this song to the great American freedom fighter and songwriter, Mr. Pete Seeger. May you rest in peace. I would also like to dedicate this song to Andreas Antonopoulos for his words of wisdom and hope for us all. Now climb aboard, y'all. This train is bound for glory. And there's plenty of room for all. Well, Satoshi Nakamoto, that's a name I love to say. And we don't know much about him, but he came to save the day. When he wrote about the way things are and the way things ought to be, he gave us all a protocol this world had never seen. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to reign, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Down the road it will be told about the death of old Mount Gox, about traders trading altar coins and miners mining blocks. But them good old boys back in Illinois and on down through Tennessee, see, they don't care to be a millionaire, they're just wanting to be free. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to reign, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Halls of Parliament, while the bankers count our money out for every government. Oh, Bitcoin flies on through the skies of virtuality, a promise to deliver us from age-old tyranny. Oh, Bitcoin, as you're going into the old blockchain. Oh, Bitcoin, I know you're going to reign, till everybody knows, till everybody knows your name. Till everybody knows, till everybody knows your. Give me some exposure. Everybody knows your name. Sing it. Oh Lord, pass me some more. Oh Lord, before I have to go. Oh Lord, pass me some more. Oh Lord, before I have to go. Thank you, East Nashville. Y'all be good to each other.